Hong Kong is very much about consumption. It's about what can I buy next, where can I go next, what can I see next, who's coming to town, what celebrities. So we wanted to bring sustainability into that lifestyle aspect that Hong Kong embraces. My name is Nissa Marion. I'm the co-founder and editor-in-chief of Ecozine magazine and also the co-founder of an NGO called the Hong Kong Cleanup. And my mission in life is to make the world a better place, no really, to be a contribution in my personal and professional life, and I've been really lucky to create a career where actually my job is about that too. I've always been an environmentalist. Like, I grew up in Canada, camping, canoeing, all that wonderful stuff, and just communing with nature. I went to a pretty progressive high school, so hung out with a lot of hippy-dippy, fantastic people who just got it. And that kind of planted the seed for me of wanting to make sure that I do my part in protecting the planet. And it sounds cheesy, but like I'm just a real tree hugger, you know. I love nature, and it makes me really sad the way that our development as a people has destroyed the planet in many ways and continues to do so. So honestly, I just want to see people care about nature. So that's one side of it, and then I've always been interested in the publishing world, and one day, about 4 years ago now, my best friend came to me and said, hey, I've got this idea. We know so many people in the environmental sector and so many small startups and great companies and cool NGOs and fantastic campaigns that need a platform to reach the public. Why don't we be that platform? Why don't we start a magazine? It just made sense. I was like, yeah, okay. I had no idea what that was going to take, like what that would actually entail. But it sounded really cool and exciting and kind of right up my alley, so I said yes, and we co-founded Ecozine. We have this NGO called the Hong Kong Cleanup, and we've been running that since 2000. My best friend and business partner, Lisa, founded that. And through it, you know, we engage corporates and schools and community members and other NGOs and government. And so we were able to create this incredible community of companies especially, but also other sectors that were doing great things, that had great CSR profiles, or were launching cool eco products, or just, you know, wanted to make the world a better place. And at the same time, we were seeing more and more sort of evidence that consumers were interested in more than just the label on a product or the price of a product, that they really wanted to see products with provenance and responsibility from companies that they trusted. And there wasn't necessarily in Hong Kong a really strong publication that connected those two worlds, that brought, you know, the people with the great ideas and products and CSR initiatives to the consumers that wanted to buy from those companies. So we decided that we wanted to be that crossroads because we had such access to both sides of that. So at the same time, having always been passionate about magazines and publications and popular media as a means to convey important messages, it just made sense for us to start a magazine. We started by launching an online publication, ecozine.com. And that name came after a good 3 months of thinking about names. I mean, this process was very much a back burner, sort of passion project for us in our spare time, late nights, midnight coffees, that kind of thing, just creating what we thought would be cool. And the website was the result of not noisy at all.
Right, gotta start midnight coffees. A lot of helicopters today.
And the website was a result of literally nights of just sketching and drawing what a cool website would look like and referencing hundreds of other websites. And, you know, we had no experience in this whatsoever, in building websites, in developing media, in editorial, in advertising. So it was a really fun but challenging journey, a really steep learning curve, and that was just for the website. So we got that launched in 2012. The model was sponsorship, because that's where we had experience from our NGO background. But it turned out to be more challenging than we expected to get companies here in Asia to sponsor a page on a website. It was quite a new and innovative model that people weren't ready to embrace it just yet in Asia. So we did some asking around, and we thought about what to do, and we decided that, okay, a print magazine might be a good addition. And people thought we were crazy because so many publications are going from print to digital and cutting their print publications because of costs, because of change to the industry. But we found that here in Asia, although a lot of companies were saying they wanted to do more digital marketing and be online and take advantage of the digital world, actually when they saw a proposal with a full page ad costs this much, will be in this many issues and seen by this many people, they really got it and were able to say yes. So the print magazine turned out to be a terrific thing for us in so many ways. One, it was self-indulgent. I mean, it's so nice to hold a product in your hands and say, I made this. Every font, every page, every word, every photo, the size of the margin, the texture of the paper, it's all, we created it. So that was pretty gratifying. Also, as a revenue stream, the online just wasn't cutting it at that time. So having a print edition gave us a way to bring in dollars and make this a real company and not just a side project. And also as a marketing tool. So now that the print magazine's on shelves and in cafes and all over the place, we're able to say, hey, you like that? There's more online, come visit us, and our online traffic has increased. We chose to do this in Hong Kong just exactly because this is Hong Kong and it is struggling with sustainability and it is behind in a lot of ways. There would be no point in launching a magazine like Ecozine in San Francisco. They get it, they're there. Okay, the market has arrived. Whereas in Hong Kong, it's such a huge opportunity. There's a niche for a thing like a magazine like Ecozine. There are people who really want this kind of content and aren't able to access it easily. And also, we really embrace a challenge. And so, also we love Hong Kong. Ecozine, is created by two people who've chosen Hong Kong as their home. We weren't just born here. We moved here and chose to stay here because we love this place. And it's easier to start by sharing what we didn't want Ecozine to be. We didn't want Ecozine to be a magazine for the deep greens, for environmentalists, for people who already, like me, love hugging trees. We wanted it to be a lifestyle magazine for the general public. The idea with Ecozine is to create a sleek, sexy, appealing, even aspirational package for sustainable living. So, we put celebrities on our covers, we talk about food, family, travel, cars, lifestyle, and we just slip in the sustainability angle. It's through a green lens, but it's not a magazine that's pitched for people who consider themselves environmentalists. It's actually designed to bring green mainstream as one of our taglines, to bring it to the masses, to show that sustainable living can be aspirational and not just something that you have to give up some part of your life for, or attend protests, or wear Birkenstocks, or live in the forest. You can live more sustainably and have a terrific life. That was what we wanted to bring, because Hong Kong is very much about consumption. It's about what can I buy next, where can I go next, what can I see next, who's coming to town, what celebrities. So we wanted to bring sustainability into that lifestyle aspect that Hong Kong embraces. What we find actually is that there isn't a consistent element between every story that needs to be maintained. There needs to be a thread of, which in our case is our voice. Our voice, we maintain sort of a lighthearted, layperson-friendly, slightly tongue-in-cheek, lifestyle-y voice. So we always try not to be too corporate, to use too much jargon, be too green, assume that the readers know everything there is to know about a certain topic. So that thread is our voice. But the subject matter and the way that we treat each topic varies widely, because we have everything from, great advice from CSR professionals in really successful companies who've taken great strides to, top 5 veggie cafes to go to this weekend. So it really varies, and that way we're able to engage a wider audience, because some people like the sort of the top 5s and the ways to and the hows to, and some people really like the meatier stuff. So we do offer a variety. For me, one of the biggest challenges of becoming an entrepreneur was that I didn't feel like I had an entrepreneurial spirit. Like I'm risk averse. I'd rather just have stability, a steady income. I work hard, I take home my paycheck. Or at least that's how I thought I was. So for me, just embracing the idea of being an entrepreneur was a big challenge to overcome. And I think I have. It excites me now. But there's still, I'm a natural worrier. And so, from time to time that comes up for me. In practical terms, just learning how to do this business. It wasn't like, I have expertise in something, I'll start a business in it. It was, I'm passionate about something and I have zero expertise in it, I'll start a business. So learning about pagination and selecting paper and printing and the whole production cycle of a magazine and what kind of roles need to be filled, HR. I'm not an expert at running a business either, so not just a publication, but any type of business. Steep learning curve, but exciting because I love learning. So that was part of the appeal. It's funny because I was asked to give a talk couple months ago on risk at an event called Creative Mornings. And I was like, risk? I'm not really sure I'm qualified to talk about that because I'm risk averse. And then they were like, but you're an entrepreneur, right? So I was like, oh yeah, I can probably come up with a couple things. It never stops getting scary for me. Like, it's always, my heart plummets or my stomach gets tense, you know, when there's something, for example, hiring people, you know, it's when it's just you and your business partner and your own late nights and your own, you know, tears and bloodshed and sometimes laughter at stake. That's one thing. When it's other people's livelihoods at stake, it just feels like it's such a huge responsibility for a new entrepreneur, and there's lots of us out there who've just been a one-man or two-man band for a while who suddenly take on staff. That was one of, you know, was and still is, as we're still growing and plan to continue growing our team. That was and still is, you know, a terrifying thing in some ways. But you can't grow a successful business without hiring people. So the impetus, you know, is obvious. Like, it's do it or fail. Or work yourself to the bone and burn out. So, you know, oh my God, we have asked for so much advice over this journey, and we'll continue to, because we fully acknowledge that we don't know crap about some of the things, or didn't know, that we're doing. So, for instance, when we decided we wanted to start a magazine, we reached out to magazine publishers that we knew, models that we knew that modeled for magazines, people that we knew who wrote for magazines. Luckily, we have a really strong network and some incredible friends, and even, you know, people who, in some terms, could end up being competitors, just giving just the most generous support and advice along the way. So, I mean, I'm such a proponent of just ask for help. There's nothing to lose, and I don't think I've ever been told no. I've been given weak advice or advice that I didn't take, and Lisa and I, as business partners, you know, from time to time, we're like, did that make sense to you? No. Okay, that's fine, you know, but ask. Why not? I totally am all for hearing what other people have to think, especially people who know more than I do about a topic. Oh gosh, yeah. So the best advice we've been given, I think, are from two pools, and again, we've asked everyone we know, you know, at various points along the journey, but people who are already in the business we're in. So in our case, publishers, editors, writers, people in the magazine business, and then investors. Whether or not we're seeking investment, investors know what companies need to have ready, need to look at, need to have in their business plan for success, because that's what investors look for. So people I have in my personal network who are investors, angel investors, or fund managers, or whatever, tend to have terrific business advice for startups and entrepreneurs, because they're looking for other startup entrepreneurs, and they know what to look for in a successful business, or in a successful business model. So when you ask what my worst fear is, I don't tend to give a lot of time of day to thinking about my worst fears, because it's really defeating. But if I were to give it a second, I'd probably say my fear is, so I'm, on a personal note, planning to, you know, I just got married last year, planning to start a family, and that needs to be a stable situation, and the entrepreneurial world is always one with, you know, instability and risk. So I guess my worst fear would be not being able to provide for my family because of a choice that I personally made, or one of my staff not being able to provide for their family because of a choice that I made with the business. I hope to God that never happens. Now that's a new fear for me, so I wasn't driven by it before. Before my own personal life, you know, before I got married and decided I wanted to start a family, the only thing at risk really was me, my time, my energy, my maybe chance of dying younger, you know, but there was no sort of other things at stake. So I realize now that as your life evolves and your priorities change, that can be an impetus and a catalyst for making smarter decisions or making different decisions about your business. And that's where I'm at right now, actually, is knowing that I have something more at stake, causing me to be wanting to be wiser about how I approach the business. So practicality, I don't think, comes into it, because we always have a practical hat on. You know, we always make sure that the bills can get paid. And because, you know, the priorities that I mentioned are my future family, for instance, the main mission of the magazine is still the most important thing to me, because I'm now talking about future generations and the planet we leave them. So for me, that aspect of the business is absolutely vital for my job satisfaction. Our advertisers, for the most part, are not bad companies doing a couple good things, but good companies. I mean, and there's more and more of them. Like I said, we're very fortunate to be working with companies that I buy from, that I admire. I mean, those are the first people I reach out to. Every issue, I put my sales pipeline together to reach out to advertisers, and the people at the top of that list are companies that I genuinely respect and admire. And it turns out that the companies I genuinely respect and admire happen to be the companies oftentimes that want to reach the audience that we have. So we haven't had to really give up anything in terms of our morals and ethics and mission, and we've been able to meet that requirement. So far anyway, and I can't imagine this changing, our advertiser pool matches aligns with what we want to create for the planet. Where the challenge lies is companies that we think are doing good things, but that have been burned either by accusations of greenwashing, or that 100% of their business isn't sustainable. Like maybe they're a jeans company and they're saving millions of liters of water, but they still haven't figured out their dyeing process exactly yet. Or they're a luggage company that makes products for life with a lifetime guarantee, which I think is very sustainable instead of like fast fashion, but they don't market themselves as eco luggage, they market themselves as luxury luggage, so they don't see the fit. So that's one of the challenges that we see is, convincing these companies, or even like, let's say, a fast fashion company like H&M that is taking huge strides to try and be a sustainable business. And when you're a business that big, it is challenging to do, and they've been burned by green groups telling them that they're doing it wrong, and they have done things wrong. But they're really making efforts in this journey. So at what point along the way can they say, yes, we're doing good things, and feel comfortable about it, and even that applies even more so for the companies who've never tried to say anything about doing anything green, but that we perceive as a business are doing something right. So sometimes it's about convincing the advertiser that they deserve to be in your magazine.
Yeah.
So we're lucky that we have quite a bit of flexibility in our content. I mean, lucky because we're lucky that we have flexibility in our content, actually, because we can then, some of our content is consumer facing in the sense that it's not even about the story of the companies, it's just about what you can do as a consumer to be more sustainable, in terms of seeking products with less packaging, or saying no to straws, or not even recommending certain businesses to work with, just lifestyle options. But then when it comes to telling the sustainability story of a given company or organization, every company's story is so different. I don't think there's any formula you can use. Some of them are really making great strides in work-life balance for their employees. Others are just doing incredible things for the environment, or their production, or their supply chain. Others are making great social strides, providing clean water, looking at water risk. I mean, there's so many different ways a company can approach sustainability that there's an equal number of ways that we can tell the sustainability story for them. So it really is so case by case. One of the things that we've, and this has been part of our evolution over the development of our publication, is the definition of sustainability that we adhere to, because it is such a, just everyone throws the word around now, right? It's the new eco or green, it's sustainability. And for us, it's about, and this is sometimes hard to convey because the name of our magazine is Eco-Zine, but it's not just about ecology and environment for us, it's about overall sustainability. So personal sustainability, wellness is a big part of what we talk about. Social sustainability, people doing good for people looking after themselves and each other, social issues, and of course economic sustainability too. So that, conveying to people that we're not just about trees and animals, but about actually the wider, broader definition of just being a more responsible creature on this planet, towards ourselves, others, and the planet itself is something that we often have to bring up in conversation. Yeah, it's pretty easy to say what inspires me, actually, because I love getting out in nature. And I mean, maybe it's cheesy, like, yes, nature inspires me, nature inspires everybody, but after a long week or 3 weeks in a row without a break, let's say, of work, 1 hour in the forest, one hike, one afternoon at the beach is just enough to revive me incredibly. So, and that's exactly what we're working to protect, in a broader sense. So I really need to get in nature on a regular basis, or I start to feel defeated by just the urbanity of urban life. And in terms of the business itself, the other thing that's really inspiring is when we get emails from people saying, you know, I just discovered this product, or I signed this petition, or I had no idea that my X action had Y impact. I will never do that again. Or even when we get emails from people asking for advice, you know, where can I recycle this? Where can I buy vintage clothes? Sometimes I'm like, oh man, go buy the magazine. But then, you know, I feel it's really gratifying to know that people are confident that there's a resource, that somebody will answer them, that they don't have to just wonder. So that's also inspiring, just knowing that people look to us as someplace with answers for that kind of question. So when we get individual human responses from people, it's just incredibly gratifying, and it gives us that drive to continue.